Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today, we're going to talk about Cardano and its native token ADA. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Let's go ahead and jump in. I will also like to mention that if you are not earning rewards or interest on your ADA, go check out the ITC stake pool and come earn interest on your ADA. You know, this is a great example of a time when earning interest is so powerful because ADA, has been range bound for so long that you might get somewhat discouraged if it's not doing anything, relatively speaking. But if you're earning interest, you're still making money. You're still making money, and that's what's important. I feel like a lot of people are not necessarily, taking advantage of this market cycle in the best way that they could because perhaps they're buying cryptos, but there's so many different ways that you could earn interest through DeFi, through CeFi. I mean, there's just so many different ways, and I think it's only going to help the entire asset class as a whole. So come earn interest on your ADA. I would recommend the ITC stake pool, but honestly, if you don't want to use mine, stake it somewhere else, right? Just earn interest on your ADA, and I think that is going to really help you in the long term. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump in here. And again, I contend that ADA is on a run for the record books. It can be quiet at times. We know that it can be quiet at times. But let me tell you this. In my experience in crypto, okay, my experience, and I've been around crypto a long time. In my experience, the quiet times are the best times. Okay, these are the best times. Why are they the best times? Because you really see who really believes in, say, where it's headed, and they're not necessarily there for just a quick flip in a couple days. It's more of a longer term investment. And this channel is about longer term investments. It's not about quick flips. It's not about day trading. If you want to talk about day trading, there's plenty of YouTube channels that will talk about day trading and pretend to make money doing it. But I would say, hey guys, the people that make the most money, in crypto are the people that are in it for the long haul and that are not constantly sweating about day trading. And not only are they not sweating about day trading, a lot of times you end up worrying about your trades every single day, and you would have just been better off holding it, especially with tax implications. Okay, let's take a look at what ADA has done so far and just kind of see how crazy it is, crazy impressive, I should say, that it's just up here chilling, right? I mean, it's just hanging out. It's just minding its own business, and that's about it. Okay, so let's take this journey together. So we came up to about 7 cents or so back in February 2020. We had a major dump down to around 2 cents. This is when we really said, hey guys, this is the time to buy ADA. And I was buying it up to 10 cents, and then I did buy it again later on when it was over in this range. I started buying it again. But what I would say is, in the grand scheme of the market cycle, I think ADA is going to go much higher than $1.33. Okay, much higher than $1.33. Now, before we get into all the theoretical bullish stuff that we can talk about, we should also discuss the implications of the downside risk. Okay, so let's quickly get that out of the way so we can check that box. Everyone's on the same page. In a bull market, we always know, at the very least, the bull market support band is our support in a bull market, at the very least. And what do you know? What do you notice that's really nice for ADA? Just coming up, right? Instead of the price of ADA going to the bull market support band, the 20-week SMA or the 21-week EMA, it's coming to us. Why is it coming to us? Because it's just been stable for the last 2 months. I mean, I joke that it's like a stable coin sometimes, but I don't think people understand how impressive that is, that ADA was trading for less than 2 cents 14 months ago, and now we're chilling at $1, between $1 and $1.50, like it's no big deal. I mean, think about how impressive that is. I can tell you, I've experienced a lot of market cycle tops, a lot of local tops. This does not look like either of those to me. It does not look like a local top. It does not look like a market cycle top. And even if we say go back down to the bull market support band, I feel like it's really not even that far away at this point, right? I mean, it ranges now from 83 cents to 89 cents. And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't even get out of bed if crypto's only dropping 35%. I mean, this is just par for the course. So that's the downside risk. And we had some of that downside risk earlier, or say in the middle of last year where we dumped around that, and then we hung out at the bull market support band for a while. But the great thing is that it's continuing to move up. Now, of course, this is dependent on Bitcoin, and if Bitcoin were to dump well below the bull market support band, then of course all bets are off in the short term of, say, the bull market, and things could get bearish for a while. But again, that's the risk you take. Okay, that's the risk you take. Now let's go look at this and really see what's going on. So why don't we first look at the extension from the 20-week moving average, and you can really see how calm things have gotten. Okay, look at this. Look how calm it's gotten over the last few weeks. This, by the way, if you're not familiar with this metric, it's just the natural log of the price over the 20-week SMA. Okay, so if you're thinking back to like your middle school classroom and everyone's asking, hey, when are you ever going to need to know this stuff? It was when you're discussing your Cardano moonshot prediction, looking at the natural log. So now you know. And so when we talk about this, we say, you know what? The valuation of ADA, when it reached the max extension that it had reached from the bull market support band, in terms of the natural log over the 20-week moving average, was way up here. And we have dropped, a fairly significant distance here. And guess what? The valuation of ADA is the same. So what does this tell me? It tells me that, hey guys, I mean, seems pretty good. I mean, in all honesty, it seems relatively good, and that it tells me it's as long as Bitcoin holds the line, or this is what we want, as long as it holds the line, then hopefully ADA is just gearing up for another move here. And because it's so close to the 20-week moving average now, it could theoretically extend by a decent amount and not even go past the level of extension that it was back in February of 2021. I mean, that's ultimately what is so crazy about it, is how far down it has come with respect to the 20-week moving average. And it's obviously because we've just been moving sideways, right? It's because we've been moving sideways for so long. And in fact, we've been moving sideways essentially since the week of February 15th. So we're looking at about 10 weeks now. So we're coming up on 2.5 months of sideways movement. Now, Ethereum has been on one hell of a run recently, and we're not going to discount that. And that's exactly why I was honest with you guys, and I said, trading your Ethereum for ADA up here makes absolutely no sense at all. It makes no sense at all when you're talking about these prior local tops. It doesn't mean it couldn't have gone up, and the stipulation there is, hey guys, I said it back then, and even if it had gone up, I would have stuck by what I said. I would say it's too risky. You don't need to be risking that kind of stuff. I think Ethereum is a solid project to hold as well. But now you look at it and you say, okay, well, it has come back down to earth a little bit, and guess where it is? It's right at the 20-week SMA, the ADA Ether valuation. Okay, the ADA Ether valuation is at the 20-week SMA, and you have to sort of take this one with a grain of salt, because if you look historically speaking, the 20-week SMA for this hasn't really been that significant. But what you do notice is that a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times when we're able to print a couple candles above that 20-week moving average that are one after another moving up, a lot of times we tend to go up a lot higher. And so I would say if ADA Ether falls below this, then the implication of that is either Ethereum is skyrocketing and the Ethereum tsunami is continuing, or we're having a Bitcoin capitulation, and in a Bitcoin capitulation, usually altcoins bleed badly. My guess is there's a decent chance that ADA could bleed more than Ethereum in that situation. It's not anything against ADA. That's just what the data suggests, that if Bitcoin dumps, altcoins will dump too, and a lot of times they'll dump with respect to not only Bitcoin, but with respect to Ethereum as well. So if we are holding this, I would consider that relatively bullish, because we haven't really held it in the past. I mean, to be completely honest, if you look at it, whenever we go back down to it, we've never held it in the past. And so this would be the first time if it's able to do so. And what's interesting too, and I think is an even more bullish chart, is the ADA Bitcoin valuation. Because what do we know that Bitcoin has done over the last couple weeks? It's come down. But wait a second, the valuation of Bitcoin's come down significantly. I mean, it was trading for $10,000 higher just a few weeks ago. A couple weeks ago, it was trading for $10,000 higher than it is today. But wait a second, ADA's still doing the same thing, right? I mean, it hasn't really changed. I mean, it had a wick here, but we don't get out of bed for wicks. Okay, look at the ADA Bitcoin valuation. It's moving up, in fact, and it's actually well above the 20-week estimate of the ADA Bitcoin valuation. And in fact, if we take a measured move from where it is, we're looking at a modest 47% above it. And if we go to the extension from the 20-week SMA, the natural log, here, look again, you can see that the extension has come down significantly from our local top back in February 2022, despite the fact that the valuation of ADA Bitcoin isn't that much further down than it was back then. I mean, it is slightly, but it's not that bad. And so what I would say, again, as always, is in the grand scheme of the market cycle, I think ADA has a lot higher to climb. And I will never lie to you guys and tell you there's no downside risk, because there is. And the downside risk with Bitcoin is if it closes below the 20-week SMA in this area, it's not good for ADA, okay? Now, if that ever happens, well, it will happen at some point, right? Whenever it does happen, that's the time, right? When people are fearful, that's usually the best time to be buying. Maybe not immediately when it dumps, but a lot of times when it's below the 20-week SMA and in this region over here, that's the area that you typically want to be looking into accumulating, buying when people are generally fearful. So I would say let's just keep a close eye on things. Bitcoin's currently at around 54.2K. The 20-week SMA is still a ways away. It's around 45.6, 45.7K. So there's some wiggle room there. As long as we don't go below that, I think ADA stands a decent chance of remaining relatively bullish against Ethereum, or against Bitcoin and the US dollar. Obviously, it's been bleeding against Ethereum because Ethereum's been going on a crazy run, which we also said we expect to happen given how all these other altcoins were pumping against Ethereum. I thought that profits would go back into Ethereum at some point, and you can see that has happened to some degree. So with that said, hey, I think the same thing, right? Cardano's on a run for the record books. We're already up a modest 70x from the bottom, and I'm thinking in the grand scheme of the cycle, I think there's a decent chance that the valuation of ADA could go to a few $100 billion in terms of its market capitalization, which implies that it could go up, maybe between $5 to $10 is my guess at some point during this market cycle. But it's not going to necessarily be an easy ride, okay? And whether we have a correction now or if it comes 3 months from now, whenever it comes, it's not easy to ride, and riding this out may have not been easy for some people, right? Watching it go to 87 cents, and hopefully you weren't the person that capitulated at the bottom of that wick, right? Hopefully you were, if anything, when it's doing this type of thing, that's the area that you generally want to be coming into the market, right? If you're light on ADA and you're like, you feel like you missed the boat, but you want to get some because you say, hey, I think it's still going to be going up over the next several years or months or whatever you think. These are times to be, typically to be moving into the market, not to be selling on fear. Because you're basically selling and then immediately regretting it, okay? So, same thing as always, right? A run for the record books, nothing has changed. Solid re-accumulation between $1 and $1.50. Nothing has changed there. Same thing. I think we're probably going to look back at this in the not so distant future, okay? In the not so distant future, I think we're going to look back at this and we're going to remember it as a key accumulation range. And whether it means it dumps to the 20-week or not first, I feel like eventually, at some point in the not so distant future, the general direction should be up, okay? It should be up. And hopefully we'll sort of establish what the new normal is, because clearly the market is getting used to a 120, 130 ADA. It's taken some time for it to get used to it. It makes sense. I mean, again, we've come up 60 or 70x. So again, if you want to earn interest, if you want to get rewards on your ADA, check out the ITC stake pool. And if you're doing it through the Daedalus wallet, you can just go to this right here. So you click on that. And then you click on stake pools. So 1, stake pools number 2, type in ITC number 3, and click on ITC number 4, and then you just delegate it to the ITC stake pool, and you'll start earning interest. You'll start getting rewards on your ADA. And you might think, you might not think it's worth it because you don't really get out of bed for, a few percentage points. But if you think about the fact that there's a decent chance that ADA could go up, 5x, 7x or something, that interest that you could earn could be worth a lot one day. And there's nothing wrong with setting your future self up with a little bit extra ADA. So if you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let's go for 350,000 subscribers. Give the video a thumbs up. Also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Thank you guys for tuning in. Click the bell icon to turn on your notifications, and I will see you next time. Bye.